Hello and welcome to the next part of my tutorial where we'll be jumping into UI elements and menus. Here you can see I've reorganized just some of my level. I moved into my map, redid some of it. I've moved around the doors in such a way that it makes a little more sense to have for an actual level. So in this case now you have to jump across here. You can't open the green door until you get the green key, which is up here, and this door will just open the red door section. So this just makes a little more sense. The other thing that I did was change some of the values of my character movement. If I go ahead and select this 2D side scroller character and go to the character movement component, I've changed the jump velocity and I've also changed the let's see, where was it, the character movement speed, which was just somewhere around here, max walk speed. So I was just messing around with these values, as you will probably wish to do yourself, to create a level where you can control exactly how far you can jump. So now I can move a little faster, jump a little higher. I'm able to make the jumps that I've specifically designed to be able to make in the game. We're now going to move on to a completely different level. The level that we've been working in is this 2D side scroller example map, and you can find it in the blueprint, the 2D side scroller folder. Where is it? Here it is here. Blueprint, map, and here it is, the 2D side scroller example map. I'm going to rename this to just main level, and this will be easier for us to understand when we start loading in different levels. And I'm also going to go ahead and in this map here, go ahead and right click create a new level, and this will be for our main menu. I'm going to open up this level, save selected, and you'll see that it's completely blank and there's nothing here, which is going to be perfect for where our main menu is going to be. If I go back to my content and make a new folder here, we're going to make this for our menu stuff. So I'm just going to call this menu stuff. Why not? And in this menu stuff, we're going to go ahead and create the first of our menu interfaces, which will be a user interface. Right click here, user interface widget blueprint, and this will be for our main menu widget. If I double click on this, I can see that not only do I have my usual graph where I can have things happen in code, but I also have this designer view where we can design and implement our menu. The first thing I'm going to do is add an image. So if I go here to my palette, I can go ahead and right click and drag this image in. And this outline here represents the confines of the screen. So if I go ahead, I could want this background to fill out the entire screen. So I'm going to do so, drag it out and fill it out, the screen. This little sort of icon here is where the image is anchored to, which means that if the dimensions of the screen resize, the image will stay relative to that anchoring. We want to anchor to the center, so I'm going to change the anchor of this image here by selecting anchors to the center of our screen, and you'll see the little icon will change to the center of the screen as well. And for now, we're going to change the color of the background to something a little bit more palatable. Now we're going to add some other elements, things that we can click on. For example, these buttons. I'm going to drag one button out here. We're going to make it a little bigger in the center of our screen, and we're going to grab some text. But we could grab the text and just sort of drag it out here, but I'm actually going to drag it onto the button, so you'll see it will lock onto the button here. Though I'm not sure that I'm a fan of the contrast here, so I'm going to go and change this text to have black text instead. And we'll change the text content to say start game. While we're here, we might as well rename the button that we've made for clarity to the Start Game button. Now, currently our menu doesn't actually exist in the game. If I go ahead and save and compile this and I run the game, you can just see my little character and not the menu. So the first thing we're going to do is spawn in the menu by going to Blueprints, open Level Blueprint, and this is while we have this particular scene open, the main menu editor scene. And on begin play, we're going to go ahead and create that widget that we just made before. So create widget. The widget that we select will be the main menu widget, the one that we've made. And we're then also going to add to the viewport this widget. So I'm going to type in add to viewport. And the widget that we add to the viewport is going to be the one that we've just made. So we're going to drag in this return value into the target here. So now whenever the game just begins in this scene, in this level, it should just make our main menu and assign it to the viewport. So we should now see our main menu. Look at how this button is slightly off-centered now to the left. It's probably because I didn't anchor it to the center. So if I click on this button, you can see it's anchored to the top left-hand corner. Let's go ahead and change that anchor to the center. And now if I go ahead and compile and run the game, it should hopefully be in the center of our screen when the window resizes, which it is. Now if I click on this button, nothing happens. And if I click off it, my cursor disappears, which isn't great. Let's solve the second problem first. So the reason that our cursor disappears is because we've still got our little character, remember, running in the background. We're going to have to change the game mode to get rid of that character and the settings, like the cursor disappearing. So I'm going to go to my world settings here for this, and you can see that our game mode override is set to none. We're going to make a new game mode, so we're going to make a new blueprint class, and this time instead of an actor as the base, we're going to choose game mode base as the base of our class. And we're going to call this menu mode. And we can now select this menu mode as the override for this particular scene. Now I'm going to go ahead and create a blueprint class of a player controller. And this will be our menu player controller. This way, instead of spawning in our little character that moves left and right and jumps around, we're going to spawn in this abstract menu player controller instead. And so I'm going to go to my menu mode. I'm going to double click on this, and I'm going to set my new player controller class instead of from the default one. We're going to change it to the menu player controller. And now finally for the menu player controller, I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to go try and find where I can have my cursor be displayed at all time. Here it is here in mouse interface, show mouse cursor. We're going to go ahead and tick this option and compile. So now whenever we play the game, our cursor will not disappear when we click somewhere, which is great. So we've got this all set up as our menu mode. Now we want to actually load the game in when we press the start button. So I'm going to go to my widget. I'm going to have my button selected. I'm going to scroll down in my details panel and I'll see these events. So on clicked is going to be the event we're going to use. So I'm going to click here on this plus symbol. We now have an event to use when we click the start button. We're going to want to open a particular scene, or rather open a level. So I'm going to do open level. And the level, we could just use the name to set it, but I've actually discovered there's a way just of saying open level by, oh, it doesn't appear, it appears to have gone. Open level by a drop down. Oh, well, never mind. We'll just use this level for now. I can't remember how to do that. And the name is going to be that name that we renamed our level before. So where was that? It's main level. So we're just going to make sure we type in exactly the same thing. Main level, all one word. And now if I compile this and run this code, and I click on the start game, we should now load into our game. So now that we've got a handle on how UI works and how we can create a menu, we're going to add a couple of new things to our game. First of all, whenever we die in our game, let's go ahead and run this again. Whenever we fall through the level, we are going to, instead of just deleting the character, move to a death screen. So just like we've got a different level for our main menu, we're going to go ahead and create a new level for our death screen. So I'm going to do death screen. So this level is just going to have nothing in it. So let's go ahead and create the widget for that. So I'm going to go back to my menu stuff. We're going to create a new widget. We'll call this game over widget maybe, or death game over will do. Open this up. We're going to put our background in. We're going to anchor it to the center. And we're just going to have some text that says game over. Game over. Except we can't see this because it's white and the background's white. So let's change the background color. And let's make it quite dark actually. Let's make our text a lot bigger. So we can go to our text here and we can see color and appearance. There's font size. So we'll increase this font size. And we'll also want to center the text and anchor it to the center as well. So there we go. And let's anchor them both to the center. So there's our game over screen. And we'll go back to that scene that we had before. So let's go back to the death screen scene. We're going to go to our blueprints. We're going to do the thing we did before. So when we begin play, we're going to create the widget, because we need to do this for each of our scenes that have a particular menu element in it. So we're going to do our game over widget that we're creating, and we're going to add that to the viewport. And we can't forget to also set in our world settings our game mode in this death screen scene or level to our menu mode. Now, if we go ahead and open up our main menu again, so we should now have the transition of when we die. Well, we haven't actually changed the functionality of us dying. So let's go ahead and add this to the functionality of the death box. So instead of destroying the actor now, we're going to just go ahead and load the level. So I'm just going to go ahead and open level. And the level name will be death screen, the name of that level we had. And if I go ahead and play, which will automatically compile for me as well, instead of just deleting and disappearing, I now go to my game over screen. So I'm just going to, using the same functionality, we're going to go to my death screen, and we're going to add a button to go back to the main menu. So that would be in the widget. So I'm going to go back to my menu stuff, go back to my game over widget. We're going to add a button. This button is going to have some text. The text will say, you know, restart. Maybe it shouldn't go to the main menu. Maybe it should just go back to the game again. I'm not sure I'm happy with the contrast, so I'll make this dark. And while I'm here, I think I'll make the size a little bigger as well. Let's make sure our button is anchored to the center. Boop. We're going to add the functionality for when we click on this restart button. Here's a thing you'll notice. You see the way it says on-clicked button _1354. I'm going to delete this again. Just before things get confusing, it's a good idea, I find, to rename your buttons. So I'm going to recall name this restart button before you then add the code, just so that when you're looking at the code, you can make sense of it by seeing this one says on-clicked in brackets restart button. So this is going to simply open the level being either the main menu or the game. I think I'm just going to go to the main level again once you die and restart, instead of going back to the menu. But it's up to you. So if I restart now, I'll go back here. Okay, I just keep dying, but I can just keep restarting. So now that we've got all of that functionality, we can quickly add things like a credits menu, an options menu, various different menus that we can navigate between. Let's go ahead and look at our checklist to see if we've implemented anything so far. We now have our, let's see, we haven't quite got our HUD or our collectibles, but now that we know how to create a UI element for a menu system, we can then use the same logic for creating a menu for the game while it's running. So let's do that quickly. So I'm going to go back to my main menu, or sorry, my main level, which is going to be here. And we're going to create some collectibles and a score. So I'm going to go to my maps. No, not to my maps. We're going to go to my menu stuff. We're going to create a widget. Only this time it's going to be, we're going to call it the HUD widget. I'm going to open this up. We're going to go ahead and stick in an image for the top right hand corner. I'm going to add some text to it. And this is going to say on the text, better change it to contrast. We're going to say something like current score. So there's our current score display. And we can now add to our main menu the fact that we will, when the game begins play, so I'm going to have to add this event. It seems to have gone. Event begin play. We're going to create that widget. The widget that we create will be that HUD that we just made. And we're going to add it to the viewport. So just like we're doing for our bespoke levels that are just for the menus, we're going to do the same thing for our HUD that we're going to have appearing while we play the game. So now we've got our current score appearing. We're going to add collectibles and some more functionality in the next tutorial, but for now we've at least just added the HUD so we can tick off one of these here.